Hello, everyone. My name is Jakub Polaczyk, and as a Vice President of New York Dance Innovations, I would like to invite you for another quarantine talks. Today, we have a wonderful, well-known composer, Douglas Knehans, who will tell us a few stories about his last 7 months during this pandemic, also about upcoming projects. So Knehans is teaching now at the University of Cincinnati, but he graduated from New York, Aaron Copland School of Music in Queens, and also from Yale University, and was also for a while in Australia. I had the opportunity to meet Professor Douglas when I was a student in Poland, and I also know him through the Blaze Records company, who are doing a lot of contemporary works. And I hope you will enjoy our talk, our discussion. So, hello, welcome.
Hello, Jakub. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you. I would like to first ask you if you can share with us a few thoughts about your recent 6 months, about your daily work, about your day. And so could you tell us how does your day look nowadays?
Well, it's been really interesting because when the lockdown began, it was very sudden. Like we were teaching at the university like on the Wednesday, and then on Thursday we were told next week you're teaching from home. So overnight, pretty much all of us had to work out how to Zoom, how to do this, and how to teach our classes. So there was that initial hump. Then once we got used to that a little bit, I found that, well, I wasn't traveling as much. I didn't have to like take my car to go into work and all of that. So I found that actually my productivity became very much improved. I wrote about 45 minutes of music between mid-February and end of March, I guess.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And then something occurred where around the end of semester, which for us is about middle of April, I have a commission for 2 piano, 2 percussion work. And I was starting to work on that. It is due in December. And so I thought I'll get a start on that. And I started it, and I started it again, and I started it again. And I kept starting this piece until about, I guess it was the end of September. I made 8 starts on this piece. And finally, in about the middle of September, I finally got to a place where I was happy with the material. And that was the most unusual hiccup for me. Normally, I'm rather quick with focusing on ideas and getting them into a form where I can move the piece forward. But with this piece, I don't know whether it was because of the lockdown or the fact that normally I'm away in the summer recording, and I was here all summer, and I thought, oh, this is great. I'll be able to work all summer. And all it was this frustrating lineage of start after start after start on this piece. And so for me, it has been since about, March, end of March, middle of April, maybe, fairly frustrating until just the last few weeks where this piece started to break, and I'm now making good progress on it. So a really curious time. And then starting semester 2 in this mode, like meeting people for the first time who you're trying to teach composition to, and this is your first way of meeting them, is really rather strange.
So if you still teach online, right?
Yes.
The entire semester. Okay, so Cincinnati is the same. But you can have a lot of variation of this piece. Maybe that's going to be a variation because you're going to have so many versions of the same material.
The other versions are in the trash can, Jakub.
Oh, yeah.
Got rid of them.
All right. But sometimes later you might realize, oh, maybe I want to come back to this one and I want to do a different, I want to go in a different way. Like so many great composers put to trash so much great music, and later we discover it was wonderful.
Yeah, well,
like Brahms, for example. Chopin also a lot of actually put to trash. Yes, and I also want to ask you. So you haven't traveled, right, since March?
No, I haven't been out of pretty much the house. I mean, I've been to the supermarket, and that pretty much is it. We haven't even been within Ohio away anywhere. We were trying to go somewhere in the summer, just to get into the woods or somewhere, and everything was booked out. We just couldn't get into anywhere. So even that plan kind of didn't work, because I think, everyone was staying close to home. So I think all those things booked out rather fast, and we're too slow, and we were stuck here all summer.
I see. Like most of us, New York was very similar. March, April was very depressing. But I also want to ask you, because you travel also a lot to Poland, and I'm the artistic director of Chopin and Friends Festival. Right. So I would also ask you about your connection with Poland and also with Chopin. If you have visited maybe the Żelazowa Wola, where Chopin was born, maybe you can share a little bit with us, okay? About Chopin and Poland.
Well, I've been to Poland, I think, 5 times now. Okay. And that's been, 4 of those 5 times were to Krakow, which I just adore that town. It's so beautiful. And the last time I was in Poland, it was to Warsaw, where, I went to the university to meet Paweł Lukaszewski.
Chopin University.
That's Warsaw. Right, yes. And, one of my former students is living there now, because she went on a Fulbright to study with Paweł.
Exchange program, Fulbright exchange program. Right?
Yeah, Fulbright. Yeah. And then, she, I guess, met her partner there, and so stayed in Warsaw. So it was lovely to see her. And she took me around all the main sites of Warsaw, and I got to see, Chopin's heart, there, which was
in the church.
Yes, which was really, and also just a little bit for me sad that it had to come, to that. But but I understand it, and am really sympathetic about it. But I think that the musical culture in Poland, well, the culture generally in Poland is just so inspiring. I mean, the people are so deep and thoughtful and so talented that I feel so at home, there when I go.
Yes, but I want to ask you, maybe in your music, so do you find any inspirations listening to Chopin, maybe studying Chopin?
Yeah, very much. I mean, I think that the lyrical voice, of Chopin is a huge inspiration. I guess his F minor piano concerto is probably one of my
favorites. Second movement, Larghetto? Or all the movements?
I think all the movements.
All the movements.
Yeah. But I think that what's so fascinating about Chopin is the intimacy of his voice. That no matter how big his compositions are, it's always like this. It's always like he's talking to one person, not a group of people. It's kind of very immediate. And I think of all the qualities of his music, what I take it is that. And then when you transpose the kind of Polish, strain, in his music to a more contemporary expression in the works, say, of Lutosławski, who I adore, and Penderecki, those have been like huge influences on me as well. And I met Lutosławski in
Warsaw.
In Australia, believe it or not.
Australia. Oh.
Yeah, a younger man. He did the premiere of his 3rd symphony there when I was younger, and I got to sit in on the rehearsals, and it was really phenomenal. I mean, did you ever meet Lutosławski?
No, I was very young when he passed away. He passed away in the 90s. I wish I could, but I never had a chance to meet Lutosławski.
Oh my God, just an amazingly urbane, gentle, thoughtful, unbelievably cultured man. And his demeanor on the podium was just the same. Patient, soft-spoken. And when he stepped out, Jakub, it was incredible, because, the 3rd symphony is it starts all just cued, and the players, you could feel the animosity from the players. They just hated the fact this you know, and you could feel it coming off the stage, just this real tension. And within about 20 minutes, half an hour of the first rehearsal, because the music was so great and he was so patient, you could feel the whole demeanor of that rehearsal turn. Oh, wow. And they started to love it. By the time they stopped for coffee, they were in love with the music and with Lutoslawski. It was really tremendous. And then after the performance, I was privileged to be able to speak with him and we were invited to a little reception, you know, for him. So we had a little chat, and I'll never forget it. It was just phenomenal.
That's great. But tell me also, how is the situation if you are talking about Lutoslawski in Australia? Is he very often performed by the Australian orchestras? How's the situation nowadays?
Well, you know, the situation with new music generally and orchestras is not robust, you know, anywhere, even with orchestras that are fairly committed. So, you know, I would have to say realistically, no, it's not like on every season you see a Lutoslawski piece or anything like that. But that said, I think if they perform any modern music, it's just as likely to be a Lutoslawski piece as it is to be any other, you know, newer 20th century work. His Concerto for Orchestra, for example, is really widely performed. I think it's performed in Cincinnati here twice in the last 11 years. So that's pretty incredible.
That's good. That's good.
So, but there are other pieces of his that I'd really love to hear live too, like the partita for
of course, I know.
Violin and orchestra is amazing, and the Third Symphony I just adore. There's a lot of pieces that really,
and the Fourth Symphony, which is also great, actually.
Yes, yeah. Yes, I don't care for it as much as the third, but that's just
great. But also tell us, maybe if you are talking about Cincinnati, how is the orchestra in Cincinnati? Is it also closed for this entire season, or still unknown?
It is closed. They've turned into a TV production studio. So what they're doing is they're broadcasting their season. So
online, right?
They've had to pretty much overnight just turn into a TV broadcasting station. And I know this has been like a huge lift for them and administratively really tough. But they're doing amazing work and they're playing so great and
wonderful orchestra. I heard them a couple of times when I was in Kentucky for a year, and I remember when I went there was this new music festival, and they also performed Penderecki this time. It was Polymorphia, I remember. Yeah, amazing orchestra, beautiful.
Yeah. They did the Ligeti violin concerto a couple of years ago too, which was really like, whew, amazing. I remember one of the viola players posted her part online to show just how tough this music was that they were doing. But boy, they played it fantastically well.
Very nice orchestra.
Yeah.
And also, Douglas, if you can tell maybe last thing also about your recording company, about Ablaza Records, about upcoming projects and the future plans. You are also nominated for the Grammy Awards.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, let's clear up the nomination thing. The Grammys works in several stages, you know. So I've had a few pieces included on the first ballot, which is not a nomination. You're just you're on the ballot. And so the next stage of vote will be to select the nominees. I hope very much that we might progress, but some of these fields are really immense. I mean, with well over 1,000 entries on some of them. So, you know, to actually progress is really amazing. If you become one of the 5 out of like sometimes over 1,000 entries, it's like, whoa.
Yes.
You know, we definitely hope though, because we're very proud.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you very much of the work that we do. In terms of the coming year, I think like every organization, we're just crossing our fingers and waiting to see, you know, what happens. I'm very concerned about the situation in Europe and the resurgence that's happening there right now of the pandemic. We normally go to Czech Republic to record in the summer. This summer, we delayed the recording and I produced it remotely from this chair and spoke to the engineers there and the conductor there, remotely. We worked for the first year with the Royal Scottish National Orchestra, but of course they're also closed down. And I have a whole disc waiting of to record there, but until they open, we're kind of stuck. So we're just waiting to see what happens, in this next few months. But we're still accepting applications, and we would simply, hold any people that we accept until we're ready to start rolling again. But we're pretty confident that we'll be able to do it either in person or remotely as the summer unfolds.
Great. So I wish all the good luck for the entire Apple's records. There are so many wonderful CDs you can find out, and you can also find on YouTube, Spotify, the composers.
Spotify, YouTube, Tidal, we're on everything. So
yes,
you can find us anywhere. Yeah.
Access America. Yes, and maybe now, when is coming this premiere of your new work that you are actually writing now? Is it coming in 2020 or 2021? Next year?
Given, I don't know if the pandemic will stop even that happening. Then I have a new recording that's meant to be happening of a new work for organ and trombone. And that, I think, is also now delayed. The work that I'm currently writing for the Icarus Quartet out of Baltimore is for 2 pianos and percussion, and that's due in December, and I'll hit that deadline to get it to them. But what their season holds is unclear to me too. I mean, everyone is just in this kind of holding pattern, like an airplane waiting to land,
Of course, yes.
Yeah. So we just wait and see. But I'm really confident. I tell my students, some of them are very depressed about the current situation.
I understand.
They're looking at, finishing their doctorate and going out into a world where there's, few jobs, no performances, no recordings. You can't. I mean, it's pretty depressing for them and everyone else too.
It is.
And I just tell them, look, you have to have faith. This is going to pass. We're going to get, past this. But the intervening months are also, stressful on everyone.
Okay. So I hope it's going to happen in 2021. Hopefully,
yeah,
you can finish soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I think that certainly recordings should be the first things that start to come back, because they don't involve audiences, and I think that they'll be the easier things to start to move. And then the smaller ensembles that can have concerts in small venues with socially distanced audiences might begin again, but I don't know that we'll hear Mahler 8 anytime soon. But
we have to have a hope. It's good to have a hope. Yeah.
Yeah, we will hear it again, but I don't think in 2021 we're gonna hear it.
We're gonna see, And also, Douglas, maybe last thing, if you can tell us, maybe you can recommend some short piece that we can play now at the end of this recording of your music. Maybe something from your recent CD, or I'm gonna play it later on the YouTube channel. So, is there any piece that you would like to share?
There are a number of pieces. I have maybe something off my latest CD, which is this double portrait.
Yes, double portrait. Okay.
So there's a little piece on there called Falling Air. It's about 10 minutes, and that's a piece I wrote for Piro Ensemble and the Chinese instrument sheng, which is a kind of a mouth organ, but it's long reeds with a kind of buttonholes at the bottom, and you play it both breathing out and breathing in. So and it's a harmonic instrument too, so you can play single lines and harmonies. So it was really interesting to work with that and see, well, how does it blend with the winds that I've got with flute and clarinet? How does it blend with the strings? How does it blend with percussion? And the thing is, it blends with all of them really great. So I had a really fun time writing that piece.
So we'll hear it after this interview. I'm gonna play it. Okay.
Great. Great.
So Douglas, thank you very much for this conversation, and I wish you all the best in this year. That you can finish your work soon.
Yes, I will.
So again, thank you very much. Okay.
You're most welcome. Thank you, Jacob.
Bye bye.